For now, we want to check in with Congresswoman Karen Bass, a Democratic member from Los Angeles, a chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, one of the most prominent members of the United States House of Representatives. Congresswoman, good to know you are okay and at a safe location, but sort of walk us through the images that you have seen yourself today and your reaction to what you are seeing now.
Well, I am just absolutely shocked. I mean, look, what's happened in other countries, not the United States. The idea that the president of the riot is just shocking. You know that this building has been completely closed since March because of the pandemic. And how did all of these people get inside the Capitol? They have vandalized the building all throughout. People are sheltering in place, members and staff. This is just such a sad day in American history, when it's actually one of the days that the world looks to us for, because this was the beginning of the peaceful transfer of power. And we have a president that still refuses to admit that he lost an election. That's a sad thing.
We can report now that the FBI, in fact, has been deployed to help U.S. Capitol Police protect federal property. I'm curious, though, Congresswoman Bass, what was your personal experience when this erupted?
Well, my personal experience was getting out of the way and coming away from where it looked as though it was going to go south, meaning that people were, you know, the crowd was beginning to get agitated. Fortunately, I was not in the chambers when the protesters broke through and had to experience, you know, the tear gas like my other colleagues did. But all of us have been told to shelter in place. You know, alarms went off to tell us that we needed to make sure that we were not walking around. I mean, the U.S. Capitol prior to today is probably one of the safest buildings in the country. And we really need to look back and examine how it wound up being so vulnerable. It is clearly still out of control. FBI might be on their way, but they're not here now. And we can't even continue the work of a peaceful transfer of power because of what has taken place. And I don't know if you heard the president's so-called message to quiet things down, but he's continuing to agitate rioters by saying that the election was stolen, he won by a landslide, etc. It's tragic.
Your Democratic colleague, Ted Lieu, has said that the 25th Amendment should be invoked. Others have said that he should be impeached and removed. Do you agree with them?
Well, I think we just need to get to January 20th, but I was looking at it a little differently. I think it's a crime to incite a riot. That's exactly what the president has done, but then we have seen him commit so many crimes. This country just needs to get to January 20th so that we can evict him out of the White House. This is just so pitiful. The other thing that is so sad to me is that he has clearly developed a cult following. I mean, these people are completely disconnected from reality. They will jump over whatever cliff he tells them to jump over. As protesters were walking down the street, they were saying things like, one, they were mad at Vice President Pence because he refuses to violate the law, but two, they believed that Trump was going to actually do something and that they were on their way to the Capitol because Trump had a surprise in line for them. That is frightening when people are so willing to blindly follow somebody who has consistently lied to them and consistently puts them at risk, because remember, we still have a pandemic. I'm looking at all of these protesters, no social distancing, no mask. He is also facilitating and instigating a super spreader event.
Now, we are hearing that one of your colleagues said that, in fact, the certification process will continue today. It's almost 5 o'clock in the afternoon for you. We know that the D.C. mayor has instated a curfew from 6 p.m. tonight until 6 a.m. tomorrow. Do you actually see that happening, that the certification process will pick up where it left off today?
Absolutely. This is our constitutional responsibility. And I will tell you that we assumed we were going to be here all day and all night. You know, it's not all that unusual for us to be here until 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. We are going to stay here until we finish our constitutional duty. This will take a while, but it will happen. No protest is going to stop us from transferring power away from this irresponsible, unstable individual who has been running our government for the last 4 years.
And just one political question, since it just broke within the last 15 minutes that Jon Ossoff won the seat in Georgia. Raphael Warnock won the seat in Georgia. How does that change things for your constituents, having a Democratic Senate?
Well, first of all, hallelujah. It changes things for the entire country. It means that President Biden and Vice President Harris will actually be able to govern. It means that the Voting Rights Act in John Lewis's name will be signed by President Biden. It means that the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act will be signed by President Biden. You know that Mitch McConnell has had over 200 bipartisan bills sitting on his desk because all he wanted to do was confirm judges. And so now we'll actually be able to get the work of this country done.
Wow.
Yeah, I was going to say we'll end on that, but I'm curious, Congresswoman Bass, what's next for you literally in the next few minutes? What's life like?
Well, life, I mean, I'm trying to not be as angry as I am because this is just so despicable. But I am waiting to be called in to vote to continue this process. We will certify this election today. Mark my word, if we have to stay here until 12 noon tomorrow, we will do it. We will get the job done for the American people.
All right, Congresswoman, thank you for checking in with us. Our best to you and to your entire staff. Stay safe and stay in touch.
Thank you, always.